good afternoon. You'll have to excuse me. I'm sick. I've got a really bad cold. And I've been at work all day, feeling like poo. So, I just want to have a moan, really. Because I've talked about it in previous videos, but I have a lot of chronic health issues. So, in 2007, I was diagnosed with ME/CFS. I actually have true ME. I was actually diagnosed by a neurologist who found lesions on my brain, which turned out to be inflammatory lesions. And I've also been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I was diagnosed with multi-wide, all over the bloody place, osteoarthritis, which I've got in my hands quite badly. I got like deformities, like this finger is like going funny. They're twisting. You see that one is twisting, and I can't put my fingers together. This hand's weak, which I'm having physiotherapy for, but it's quite weak and it's actually numb. Like half of it is numb. My other hand is also having problems with as well. Got osteoarthritis in my knees. I got hypermobile pelvis. I've got osteoarthritis in my ankles as well. I recently was diagnosed with Sjogren's, which is an autoimmune disease, which also affects my glands and can affect your heart and kidney and all sorts of things. It causes a lot of fatigue and could cause a lot of joint pains as well. So, basically I am disabled, and I have been really trying hard to stay in the workplace. I currently work for a very well-known public service, and I started working for them last July, and they were very good because before I was even allowed to work for them, I was assessed by their own OT department, which is run by them. Basically, they have a massive department that deals with occupational therapy and stuff. So, and their OT put into place like loads of suggestions of what they could do to support me going to work. And one of the things that they recommended was that I have a disability parking spot close to where I was going to be working, so that I didn't have to walk very far, because I have fluctuating chronic illness. So like I have good days and bad days, and like on my bad days I struggle to walk and I have to walk with a stick, and I struggle to get in and out of my car. I have to like open the door really wide to get in and out. And it is fluctuating, so I can have good days, but I have bad days as well. And since I've had COVID, which was last year, I have been really struggling with my disability issues, my osteoarthritis and fatigue and all that kind of jazz. And the management team accepted the recommendations and then said to go ahead with the employment, and based on those recommendations, they said, we accept the recommendations and we will put it into place. So I had to apply for a disability permit for this space, and the OT sent a report that I could then send to them for the permit. So the OT sent a report. My manager also sent a copy of the report as well, and it took 8 weeks to sort the permit out, and I struggled so bad during those 8 weeks because there was nowhere for me to park. I had to park too far away. I really struggled, and sometimes my team leader had to give me a lift to the car park that I'd had to park at because I couldn't walk there. And there was even a time where it was so delayed, the permit, that, pardon me, the management team told me to take the week off because I couldn't get access to work because I hadn't had the permit and there was such a massive delay on it. And then eventually I got the permit and I started parking in a disability section, which was very, very close to my work. I literally could just walk through a little corridor and the lifts were just there, and then I go up in the lift to get to my job, and it's all very close. And because of a disability, like if I was having a bad day with my hips or anything, my knees, then I could open the car door really wide to get in and out of the car. And I can't do that in a normal parking space because, you know, there's not enough room for you to open the door wide. Anyway, I've been using that parking space quite happily for October, November, December, January, February, 6 months. And it has obviously improved my access to work greatly. And then I recently fractured my ankle and was off work because of that. And I've come back to work. And obviously my mobility is a lot worse at the moment because I'm recovering from a fractured ankle. And I came back to work to an email from the parking team saying that the policy was being changed and now you have to have a blue badge to access the parking area as well as the permit. So I was like, what? I've never really applied for a blue badge because I've always shopped online and things like that, so I've never had to need of a blue badge. So I've had blue badges in the past when I was very, very ill, because when I first got my ME I was very, very poorly and I did have a blue badge then, but they're not infinite, you know, you have to reapply for them. And so I've done quite a lot of things to avoid having to worry about it because it's such a long drawn out process. So I spoke to the council about it because that's who I've got to apply for one, and they've just basically said that I can apply for one, but it doesn't mean I'll get it, even though I am under the guidelines, because I spoke to my OT again, and she said, you're definitely, you know, disabled, you have a disability, so you are disabled, but it's in the hands of the council whether or not you're disabled enough to have a blue badge. So it just feels like, I got really tearful today because I love my job. I really love it. But this is making it hard for me to access work. You know, the government, they keep going on about how they want disabled people to work, and then they put barriers in the way. And this is an official barrier. This has been created by the people that I work for, who are a government body, and it's also being created because the council who help run this body have also made the policy. And basically, you know, everybody I've spoken to, so I spoke to the disability people that support disabled people in the job, and I've spoken to the car park people, and I've spoken to my OT, and my OT rang me today and we had a long conversation, and she said, my recommendation hasn't changed. You are still disabled, you still need a disabled parking spot, I still recommend you have one, but I have no control over the policy being changed or the policies of, you know, the place I work for. And they've all said, we're really sorry about your situation, but we cannot change it for individuals, that everybody's got to be treated the same, and that they've, you know, my argument has been that you took me on knowing I had this need, you accepted I had this need, you accepted the OT's recommendations when you employed me, and now you're changing the goalposts. And I said, what if I can't get a blue badge? I'm going to apply for one, but what if I can't get one? Because there are days where I'm in agony with my hips and my knees and I can't get in and out of the car easily. And if I can't open the door wide because I'm not in a disabled parking spot, how am I supposed to get in and my car? So am I supposed to like ring them if I'm having a bad day and say, sorry, can't come in today because I can't get in and out of my car? It makes no sense to me at all. It seems to me that it should really be for new applications, not old applications, because they've just literally just said everybody, not new applications. They could have put it in place for new applications, but they didn't do that. And they've put me in this position now where if I can't get a blue badge, that I don't know if I can get access to work, because there's going to be days where I can't walk from the car park that they're saying I have to park it in. And they also said to me today that even having a permit does not guarantee me a parking place. So how am I supposed to, because I have to park to go to work. So how am I supposed to have access? Oh, it just really doesn't make... And I don't get it, because, the government keep going on and on about how they want disabled people to be able to go to work and everything. And I can. And to me, it's a reasonable adjustment that I have a parking space in the disabled parking. It's reasonable. I don't think it's unreasonable. So now I don't know what to do, because now I'm like, well, if I can't get a blue badge, does that mean I need to look for a job somewhere else? Because I'm just so worried and concerned that if I have a bad day, with my joints and my hips and my knees and my legs, that I'm not going to be able to get into work, because I'm not going to be able to get in and out of the car. Because if I have to park and there's not enough space for me to open the door, I won't be able to get out of the car. Because I have to do this thing that the physio taught me, which is where you have to swivel round, and you have to kind of do this thing where you put your weight over your knees so you can get up. Well, you can't do that if you've got no space to open the bloody door. It's so upsetting, because I really love my job. It's the first time I felt settled in so long, and they're just like barriers. So to say I'm upset is an understatement. That's the other thing as well, is I don't feel very protected as a vulnerable person, because I am classed as vulnerable. Like, the staff just don't care about germs and stuff like that, and I just end up this is like my third cold, stonking cold, so it's like November. I've had COVID, I'm constantly sick. I forced myself to go into work today because I didn't want to have more time off sick, because I can't bloody afford it, to be honest. I got massive earache, banging headache, and what it was a member of staff stood in front of me who had a cold and coughed at me. And I've got autoimmune, and I said, cover your mouth, for goodness sake, haven't you learned anything from the pandemic? They just looked at me, and then lo and behold, stonking fucking cold. Just fed up. So I just thought I'd have a good whinge. I don't know what else to do, to be honest. I mean, I've spoken to every department. I spoke to the disability people, I spoke to the parking people, I spoke to my managers, who, they all sympathise, but nothing changed. Nothing changed at all. Just bloody hope I get this blue badge, eh?